If you're a first time buyer, if you're somebody with a lot of negative equity, or you're somebody that wants to buy a high end luxury model vehicle but can't afford it, all three of these categories need to consider leasing on their next purchase. Stay with me. I'm going to tell you exactly why. If you're new to my channel, my name's Billy. I'm a car buying expert and I love saving you money at the dealership. We're going to start with first time buyers. And the reason it makes so much more sense to lease as opposed to purchasing for a first time buyer is pretty cut and dry. Most first time buyers don't have any money down or very little. They don't have a job that pays them a ton of money, and they don't have any credit history. These are three pretty big factors when trying to purchase a vehicle. If you lease as opposed to finance, you're not financing the entire amount of the vehicle. So you're not asking the bank to lend you as much money. The less money we're asking the bank to lend us, the better chance there is that they'll actually lend it to us. Secondly, a lot of the leases right now have really good incentives and rebates from the manufacturer or even the dealership in the form of a discount that can act as your down payment. So you don't need to come out of pocket as much or at all when you're done with a lease as opposed to a purchase. As long as you've kept the condition well and you've kept under the agreed upon mileage restrictions, you can basically just go give your lease back to the dealership and wash your hands of it. Whereas if it was a purchase and you're trying to bring it back to the dealership, you're going to have some negative equity. So if you're a first time buyer and you're looking at a brand new vehicle to purchase and you're considering leasing now after seeing this, all you have to do is ask your salesman to show you what a lease looks like on the vehicle and what a purchase looks like on the vehicle on paper. And you can make your decision from there. Now, those of you with negative equity, a lease is going to save your ass 9 times out of 10. If you can find a vehicle that you like, that has a good lease option on it, and maybe a healthy discount or rebate from the manufacturer that can offset your negative equity, you can essentially roll any of your negative equity into that lease. And in a 3-year term, as long as you stay within the mileage and the wear and tear restrictions on the vehicle, you can wash your hands of all the negative equity that you brought to the table. Essentially, you're paying it off monthly because they factored that negative equity in to your monthly payments. I would caution some of you to have a little bit of money saved if you're dragging negative equity over, even if you have good credit. Sometimes the dealership will still ask you to pay drive-off costs, acquisition fee, first payment, etc. And lastly, those of you kind of shopping outside your budget, looking at luxury SUVs, sports cars, Mercedes, BMWs, things that typically you couldn't afford, but you're daydreaming about owning, a lease could open that door for you. Honestly, the depreciation that happens with most high-end luxury models is pretty heinous in the first year of ownership. And unless you plan on keeping the vehicle for a long time, a lease just will always make more sense. Because you're financing a portion of the vehicle's depreciation and not the full vehicle price, your payments will always be lower on that higher end vehicle when you lease. Because you're only going to own it for 3 years, 36,000 miles traditionally, you're already covered by a factory warranty the entire time. So now you don't need to buy anything from the finance guy at the end that's going to increase the amount that you're financing. Furthermore, it's already got gap built into it with most leases, which means, again, another time you don't need to reach into your pocket and give the dealership more money. Remember, even on a lease, you can still negotiate the price. Also, there's something called a money factor, which is basically your interest rate. If you take your money factor and multiply it by 2,400, that should tell you what your APR would have been had we been doing a conventional loan. There is tons of lease incentives and tons of lease deals out there right now, especially on the EV models, electric vehicles. Guys, don't wait. If you're a first time buyer, you're somebody with negative equity, or somebody who wants to shop outside their comfort zone, now is the time. 2024 November through the end of December is time to shop. Hope this was helpful, guys. And for more information just like this, please follow Billy the Car Kid.